I've been thinking about Furi a lot recently. It's a game that I've started and stopped a number of times, yet kept coming back to. A game that garners a lot of praise, and rightly so. It excels in almost all areas. Tight controls and challenging combat, a bright and brilliant art style, an intriguingly ambiguous narrative, and an incredibly thumping soundtrack. The game makers made something special, something heavily inspired by their peers, yet striking enough to stand out on its own. Bullet Hell meets Bayonetta with a touch of Shadow of the Colossus in the mix, all combining to create a game that I honestly, heartbreakingly hate playing. It's a game that I love the idea of more than the thing itself. I feel like my obsession with Furi is one born of frustration or perhaps stubbornness, because I know that when I play the game, what I am experiencing is categorically good. It's well designed. The combat feels responsive, varied, and difficult enough that you can't mash your way through mindlessly, but still generous enough to let small mistakes slide. It's effectively a boss rush game, but it gives you elegant, thoughtful downtime between fights. It feels great to play, and it looks and sounds amazing, and for no rational reason, whenever I pick up the controller to play, the colour drains from my face. This isn't my first time with this phenomenon. I've struggled with critically acclaimed titles in the past. I bought Shadow of Mordor twice and bounced off it twice. I've restarted XCOM 2 God knows how many times and barely scraped through the opening missions. And Sekiro? Let's leave that one for a later video. These are all titles not without flaws, but the flaws aren't the problem here. And so often I find myself thinking about them endlessly until the very second I engage with them. It's as though I have rose-tinted glasses for something I have no history with. I think the lesson here is that sometimes, in spite of your deepest desires, no matter how much you want to love something, sometimes it just doesn't click. And importantly, while that's not your fault, neither is it the fault of the game. It exists independent of the eyes that gaze upon it. It's not meant to be universal, no matter the desires of its publishers. Games are a hybrid medium. They can be enjoyed on multiple levels, and the cream of the crop do well to craft their layers together cohesively. But cohesion and unity are not one and the same. What draws folk in is not just a matter of taste, but also of perception, of historical precedent, and it can easily come to fruition that a person can love one or more aspects of a work, but not its entirety. Like any other medium, a game is a complete execution of a set of ideas, the will of its creators, catering often primarily to a specific niche, but with inevitable breakout appeal thanks to one or more of its facets. I think this is how Furi crept into my brain space. It invited me into a genre I'm not all that familiar with, using its illuminating colour palette, banging tunes, and a curiously ambiguous plot to draw me deeper. It gave me a mechanical toolset I cannot find fault with, one that lives in perfect harmony with its aesthetic and narrative. It is a complete package that I'd love only 3/4 of. Something that under normal circumstances I would dismiss or reject in totality, and yet there it lies, sat stubbornly in my mind, pushing me further forward in the hope that just one more fight will allow me to finally get it. But I don't think I ever will. And so, in the absence of critical analysis, the problem inevitably, unconscionably, is me. And I don't really know what to do with that.